Welcome to The View from the East, a new unofficial Leyton Orient podcast. This is episode 17, What Do Leyton Orient Need? My name's Rob Bennett, and once again, I'm joined by my slightly older brother, Eddie B. Eddie, how are we doing?
Yeah, hi all. I hope you're all well in this heat. Looking forward to this week's episode, Rob. A few topics we want to talk about. Probably the main one, how we think we're going to strengthen the team, our starting 11 for the coming season. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Just another sneak behind the curtain. We're recording slightly earlier this week, aren't we? You've got a family function at the weekend. So we're deciding to record on possibly what is the hottest night so far this year. As I don't know about you, I've had to go George Moncur. I'm recording in my black tie underpants.
It's a sight I never want to see again, Rob. Once he's stripped down, once we won that title. For your guide, I'm in the garden today because it's too hard to do this inside the house, so we've gone al fresco. But no, looking forward to it, Rob.
Just while we were talking about George, you reckon after a while, after the 20th time of him stripping down to his undies, Richie thought, no, I've just seen that too many times. Off you go.
Do you know what? He was a cracking player at that level, like League Two. We obviously got him at the right time. He took us up, didn't he? But he was the type of player we needed to get us out of that league, and I think that's the type of players we're looking for another level up now, just to get us out of this league. So perhaps we could be looking at the who could be our George Moncur, Rob, of our championship season in League One.
Might need one. You never know. Right, on the menu this week, update from the Gaffer, transfer news and quick kit update. Then, as Ed said, we're going to look at the current squads, who we've got on the books at present, and where potentially we do need to fill the gaps, either in the first 11 or potentially the second 11, if you want to call the potential backup players as well. And at the very end, we'll do a very quick England update in preparation for Saturday's game against Norway. So, Ed, yesterday, as ever, I think before they fly out to Spain, Richie done a quick, 9-10 minute interview on the club website and app, just giving an update on things that are going on at the moment, squad preparation, etc. Anything we can pick the bones out of that?
No, I think the first thing to sort of mention, he looked well, didn't he? He looked as if he's enjoyed his summer, but I think he's sort of aligned to there's still a few new players and a few new bodies that we need in the building, whether that be when they're on the trip to Spain or whether that's the first week they come back. But I still think there's a big rebuilding to do, Rob. I think there's a nucleus of a good team there, but it's the backup players that we're still looking for. Not too much. I don't think he wasn't alluding to any particular players, was he? Obviously, he's said everyone's come back fighting fit, as you would expect. So I think it'd be an interesting next couple of weeks. So the squad's got to pan out.
Yeah, I think he's. Although Richie loves giving an interview, doesn't he, to the club, and he's always good on the media side of things. I think it's that stage where you've had your first week where they do a lot of the pitches, didn't they, and interviews. Then he has a few days, I guess, while they've got trialists on the pitch as well, so they don't necessarily film a lot of it. It might just be snapshots and stuff like that. Then they have a breather before they get to Spain. Again, they do a lot of media work out there, don't they? But then Richie probably quite enjoys it while the media team then sod off and let him get on with what he needs to do. There's a couple of bits that I picked out of it. Obviously alluded to again at the moment they're training with 4 or 5 of the kids. So especially even means like the new first year professionals that signed on a few months ago. So he probably doesn't want to sort of be training too long with them, sort of with the first team in terms of thinking they might get in the team. And also he alluded to they need that older player with games under their belt really. And saying that possibly they need about 7 or 8.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I suppose you're going to start seeing some movement happening soon, aren't you? When people start, perhaps when the championship teams start buying players up, then that frees some players in their team, and perhaps they move sort of down to our level. So don't forget, players have only been back 1 week, sort of 10 days into pre-season. You still have got the World Cup going on as well, haven't you? So I imagine there's probably lots of contacts being put out there at the moment, but they're probably not going to be finalised until sort of like the next couple of weeks. Obviously, you want a settled side probably a month before the season starts, I would imagine, don't you think?
You'd imagine so. I mean, what you mentioned there as well, there's still a lot of teams there that haven't even got their managers in place before the season starts, or they've just taken them on. Forest have taken on the new manager, haven't they? Fulham, Burnley haven't got a manager yet, I don't think. So as you said, that we're further down the food chain, aren't we? So if there's people in those squads, for instance, where might be on the loan list, or the manager needs to have a look at them before he does decide that they're going elsewhere, then there's still a load of movement. Obviously, a lot of clubs have been doing business. We've probably done, it feels like, a lot of business in a short period of time, both in and out of the club. He said he felt that I was like in maybe a slightly better place. He didn't say, "Oh, we're doing a lot better," but I guess that might mean when I talk about it, he knows where they need strengthening, doesn't he? In terms of that, either older, experienced players, or maybe our first string's good, but then once you scratch below the surface of that, then we do need that extra buffer below it in terms of players have got to be able to hit the ground running, come into the squad, and we don't sort of get weaker just by changing players. One thing to note, Ed, they weren't at Cheshunt again this week. They're now at Bisham Abbey, which is the former England training base, which I think is it near Watford, near Harry Potter World?
Yeah, I presume it's probably going that way, isn't it? Sort of like, Watfordish, Hertfordshire-ish, I think. Yeah, you're right. It's where the England team used to train, didn't it? Where they've relocated to now. Again, another Richie connection, wasn't it? The only reason he said we went there was because he took his Swindon team there when he was manager for a training session. He's obviously left a good impression and had moved there.
I'm going to be kind and say a month doesn't go by without Richie mentioning Swindon. If I said a week didn't go by without him mentioning Swindon, he'd probably have a go at me. But he does like to mention the odd club or two that he's been involved with, especially those teams that have been successful. Again, I've said last couple of weeks we're not messing around. That must cost quite a bit, mustn't it? It's not like round the corner. You've got to transfer everything. They said pitch is immaculate, the same as when England used to train there years ago before St George's. So again, they're shelling out, aren't they? They're not shy on spending money at the moment.
Yeah, I presume it's one of the places. Perhaps it's one of the places they're looking at, Rob. Perhaps that's on one of the. Well, you never know, do you? Perhaps
Harry Potter World.
Perhaps it's like on the list of their 2 or 3 potential. Perhaps no one else is training there. Of his connections as well. But yeah, there's a couple of funny things where it said, didn't it take one player 3.5 hours to get there from Bromford?
Do you want to speculate on who that might be?
It may be one of the new signings. It may be Dobby.
I'm trying to think. Reg can't be driving, can he? Because of his knee. So it can't be Reg. So I don't know. Mitchell, maybe.
Could have done, yeah. I didn't think, and just he's driving around the motorway. You're right. It's close to Harry Potter World. Unless, Rob, they took the wrong turn and they ended up at the Harry Potter World for a couple of hours. It's a good place to do. I don't know if you've ever done it. It's a good couple of hours.
I've never been there. Maybe our new signing Dobby. Maybe he just wanted to sort of check in on some old friends. I don't know. But anyway, enough of that. I mean, it's good. Obviously, it's good to have the update from Richie. They've got our first pre-season friendly. We're recording on Thursday, so tomorrow night on Friday. Was it Enfield we're playing? I presume that's just going to be stretch your legs. Maybe you might even be playing, I don't know, 26 players in that game, mightn't you? 40 minutes each or 30 minutes, and then they.
Yeah, I imagine give them a proper run out, and there'd be a complete new team at half time, I would imagine. Perhaps it gives them an opportunity to look at any trialists they have. But yeah, it shows you, doesn't it? It soon comes round. It's the first. It's their last game before they fly to Spain, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, and I think they fly to Spain at the weekend. We're not experts on that. I don't follow the Leyton Orient diary all the time. But yeah, they do fly out there. So it'll be on either Friday night, Saturday morning. There'll be pictures of who's this trialist number 4. Everyone would be trying to match up who has been sort of in an Orient shirt, but not exactly official.
Well, I would probably look at the Swindon team from about 6 years ago and see who's available, and then you can probably, half of them will probably be from there.
Yeah, who's the geezer at Luton who's just been released? Is it Yates? I think he used to work with Richie. It might have been at Swindon. I know they was looking at him last year. So, yeah, there might be those sort of characters. But, yeah, Ed, there are so many players released, aren't there, at the end of each season? You could probably pick 200 names.
Yeah.
And, they're all on trial somewhere at the moment. And I'm sure one or two of ours are off on trial at other clubs as well. So,
well, I was about to say, even our team, we've probably got about. I know we've got rid of some players the last couple of weeks, but we've still got 3 or 4. I think he's trying to get out the door. So you imagine every team's got 3 or 4 players. Yeah. It's a lot of people.
Might be quite telling, actually. So just we'll get to it later. But if like a Sean Clare does some minutes, then maybe, you never know, maybe they've got a chance of playing again this season. I don't know. And also, if they don't get any minutes, but they've been training all week for the last 10 days, whatever it may be, then probably you know that they are out the door, or certainly not in Richie's plans for the very near future. Ed, there's been some transfer activity today, actually. So we joked the other day that Orient's almost becoming Oxford United of East London. We've picked up a lot of their players. Chesterfield seem to be doing the same. They've taken Josh Koroma on loan today.
Yeah, I was. The thing is, obviously, he's got experience of sort of living up that part of the world, doesn't he? Oh, well, a little bit further north, actually, in Huddersfield for sort of like a number of years. It just didn't work out last year, Rob, did it? We signed him on a 3-year deal, thinking he was going to bag us loads of goals. And apart from the first half a dozen games, something's obviously happened, and he just didn't seem. Looks as if he'd lost a bit of interest, didn't it? So he's only got, he's still got 2 years of his contract. So someone made a really good point. Well, no one's going to buy him with 2 years of his contract. So the next best option would be to loan him out. So obviously we've loaned him out to. I'm going to call them Leyton Orient reserves. It's like a care home, isn't it, for old Leyton Orient players?
They've got a few. So Zach Hemming is there in goal. Is it Mackenday? He sort of went there, didn't he, after being on loan to us from Blackburn? He weren't a bad player. I thought he was okay for us.
I was surprised I never came back in for him.
I mean,
thought he could have done the job,
didn't he? And he looked better than some of the other options we had last year. So obviously they've got Koroma, who I'll come back to in a minute, but also picked up Will Sotirio today. He's flown back in from Israel after he went there for 5 months, I think, after leaving Bristol. He had a terrible time at Bristol. He's landed at Chesterfield. He obviously needs a game.
Well, I suppose they probably looked at his track record when he was in League 2 with us. And League 1, he scored a few goals, didn't he? He always flattered to deceive for me. Whenever his contract was up, suddenly he banged 10 goals in, and they got him another extension for 2 or 3 years. Obviously the Bristol Rovers situation didn't work out, but he obviously earned himself a big contract. Yeah, you're right. He went to Israel, didn't he, for say 6 months? Probably not the safest place in the world to be currently, but that's got him a move back to Chesterfield, who probably one of the pre-season favourites, I think, for the League 2 title next year, I would imagine. They've also got they've also got Jack Simpson, isn't it? He went to Chesterfield as well.
Yeah. Jack Simpson's gone there. Someone did mention it might be a Danny Webb connection, because obviously he's at Chesterfield still, isn't he? So I mean, they're not shy in sort of trying to get out of that league. Chesterfield been pushing the last 2 seasons, haven't they? So that they're desperate to get out of it. So,
I mean, I probably wouldn't be surprised if Lingy turns up director of football as well, just to get the old team back together again.
Yeah, good luck with that. Just going back on that Josh Koroma thing, obviously in training he looks fitter, doesn't he? It might work out for him. Maybe that's what he does need. Get some goals at a lower level. You've got the opportunity to bounce back up, haven't you, if someone takes a fancy to you. Also, what I thought was, where we've got Dobbs in from Chesterfield, I'd imagine that must have been close to Elmy's money in terms of transfer fee, if not more. But if Chesterfield are paying the majority of Koroma's wage, which must be quite high, it must be one of our better wage earners, then almost we're getting sort of half our money back at least, don't we?
Yeah, and I think the other thing is if he does have a good season, what do you do? You're paying someone, let's estimate, 6-7 grand a week. So you stick them on a bench where they're not getting no eyeballs on them, or if you pop them out on loan to a league below, you could have a cracking season, couldn't he? And someone may come around in January and come in and buy him. So the next best option is to get him playing and getting people looking at him.
I suppose if we're lucky, there might be some promotion clauses in that as well. If they do go up, you never know. Maybe we'll get more money. You never know.
Yeah, well, let's hope Chesterfield go up because they've got half our team. So it should be like Quintin next summer.
Yeah, we're going to get them in a cup. That will, that will happen, won't it? Ed, also today there was a very quick 3 or 4 minute update from the media team in regards to interviewing Meyba, and that was down at Big Penny Social, ready for the event at the end of this month. Just really to plug the event again, a bit of news about the bands playing, but also a bit of news on the kit. They said the home kit's going to be very special and a real one-off. Record sales in terms of the second kit that's come out, and also trying to push the fact, I suppose, stuff like the leisure wear is going to come out, in the training gear is going to be available and build on that. And also they're already preparing for next year's kit as well.
Yeah, I heard that. It was quite interesting, wasn't it? So I suppose and I think as well, haven't they brought out a couple of kits for a couple of teams in the National League as well this week as well. So they're obviously throwing everything behind the Orient kit launch. I think they said they're happy with the way the video's gone. It mentioned a couple of bands that are going to be down there. First time I've actually seen it, Rob, in TV or someone being interviewed. It's quite a big place.
It's like a warehouse, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Looks like a good place to be. So obviously they're chucking everything into that. So yeah, but more for me, yeah, be interesting to see what the leisure wear looks like. I mean, he was wearing can only be described as a tight-fitting polo top. The guy has been interviewed from the company. But I imagine there's going to be polo tops, there's going to be tracksuit tops, there's going to be all sorts of merchandise, I imagine. So that should be an interesting couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think the other kits they've promoted this week in England, so they've done Scunthorpe video launch for that and Hartlepool as well. So I think when you look at their media stuff online, they do put a lot of sort of money and media behind it, it would seem. So they're sort of not messing around. I would have fell off my seat today because he mentioned, we put quite a bit of money behind like the video for the first team kit. If he'd said John Sitton don't come cheap, I'd have fallen off my seat.
I wonder whether they have listened to your idea of how to promote the new kit. I imagine it's going to be something. It's going to be something similar. I'm not saying they're going to use your idea, but it's not just going to be someone walking onto a pitch of a kit. There's going to be a story behind it, isn't there? And a unrevealing of the kit and some history behind it, and some old players, I imagine. But whether John Sitton's involved, Rob, or not, I know you keep on pushing him. I would be surprised if there's not a couple of old players, like some famous players mentioned, whether they turn up or whether they're past or present. I think something along those sort of lines. And then there'd be a big curtain unreveal, and then you go.
I told you, I done my taxi cab idea, didn't I? About 4, 5, 6 weeks ago on this podcast.
Yeah.
And then I showed you something the other week where Meyba had done one for their Spanish retro Barcelona kits. And what was it, Ed? It was a member, I think, of the Meyba team in the back of a cab in Spain, basically almost identical to my idea that I wanted for Leyton Orient. So maybe they are listening, Ed. Like you said the other week, I think we're in the wrong job because there's far easier ways of making a living from what I can see. So yeah, they're the brief news updates on that. Ed, what we want to do today is look at the squad, just see potentially where we're going to need maybe new recruits, not by name, but just by position in terms of the first team and that second string squad as well. Worth going back to Richie's updates. What we won't include here, Reg, obviously, he's probably out until, at the very least, I'd imagine Christmas, could be longer, with a knee injury. Billy O'Neill apparently is out for 5 weeks, although he's not been seen at the training ground.
Again.
Videos. Aaron Connolly, although has been in one of the training videos in the medical room, is apparently out for 5 months, Ed, with a shoulder.
Yeah, which surprising. I'm not a doctor, Rob, obviously, but 5 months does seem a long time to be out for that type of injury, which is a shame, isn't it? I thought we may have seen him sort of like October time or coming back around sort of like the international breaks. So basically, we're not going to see him till January, which is when he got the injury initially, didn't he? Or the first injury. So it's going to be like nearly a year. I know he's came back a couple of the games. And he probably got rushed into coming back to a couple of those games. So, but needs must around those last 2 or 3 games. So.
Yeah, but I mentioned this there before we come on. If you think back, if the rest of the squad had pulled their finger out and got the points we needed, he would never have to have been on that pitch. He wouldn't have had to play in that game. So
and it was an inoculant. The challenge, he fell awkwardly, didn't he? Exactly. And he'd played the previous 90 minutes the Saturday before, hadn't he, against Blackpool? He may have done a cameo role the last home game. But if he hadn't have been playing, Robin, everyone would have been moaning why you're not playing Connolly. So. Yeah.
And Connolly would have been moaning. He probably wouldn't be in the squad now because he would have left. It's worth mentioning, though, Ed, he's probably our best player. And 2, probably a big wage earner as well. So we've got to try and get someone in to replace. But also, you can't just magic money out of the air. It's going to cost us a bit, isn't it, to replace him?
Yeah, you're looking at a different type of player now. Perhaps there were. Look, we have 2 options of buying players, don't we? I always think you can go to the Championship where players aren't getting a position in their current team, but obviously their wages are going to be high. So something, you can end up paying them higher wages, or you take a gamble on a youngster in League 2, like we have with Dobby, hoping that they're going to come good. So, but if the experience is going to be the Championship players who are going to be on more money, so you're going to be scouring around and seeing what's around. I imagine another level up to see who we can get in to replace him. Yeah. Again, they're not going to come cheap, Rob, are they?
No, especially if they know you need a player. Then,
look at that Langstaff. Left Millwall, gone to Salford, 12.5 grand a week, apparently.
Yeah, I can't believe that. Yeah. And dropped 2 leagues.
Dropped 2. I mean, that's probably his level. Notts from Notts County. He didn't really set the world alight, did he, in Millwall? 12.5 grand. How does that? I don't know how it all works. I don't know how that's fair, but it is what it is.
They afford it, but then they've got Beckham and Neville money, haven't they? But so basically, at the very best, we're going to get 20 games out of Connolly this season. So it reminds me of Dan Ajayi, where obviously we had him on a 2-year contract, but really you're only getting a season out of him, what with injuries.
Yeah, and if you think he comes back in January as a good, and then his contract runs out next summer, so he could just leave him a free. Thanks for that.
Yes, but you imagine if he comes back on fire. Then what's he going to do? People are going to be interested in him, aren't they? Tapping him up ready for the summer.
Yeah, we won't moan at him though, Rob, in case he knocks on our door and has a go at us.
Oh no, I love Aaron Connolly. Like I said, I'm not going to have a go at him just in case he probably needs to be on the box, but just in case he taps me on the shoulder. Right, Ed, let's have a look at this then. So some of these are going to be really simple, but others, there are areas of need, I think, in terms of, and Richie's alluded to it, but we are going to need players in, whether that be on loan or permanent. So goalkeeper now, we're fully signed up, and we've got Baxter as number 1. That's fine. But what are you doing with Phillips and Cahill? Who's going out on loan? Because we can't have both of them sitting on the bench.
Well, I imagine Cahill will probably be a permanent number 2 now, won't he? And Phillips possibly go out on loan. But then I think to myself, Cahill might get itchy feet. Well, hang on a minute. I played 20 games last year. I've got I
think Cahill would benefit from games, wouldn't he? Phillips, he had a season on the bench when we had the guy in from Spurs. Who was the Spurs keeper we had? Went to
Keeley.
Sorry, the Keeley name went. And I always felt we was lucky then because Keeley would go down every game, wouldn't he? You think, oh, bloody hell, Phillips is on the bench. He's never played a game, is he, for the O's? So we got lucky on that. So it's whether you gamble on Cahill going out on loan and Phillips being on the bench. I mean, he looks capable. He's a big old unit. Looks about 6'5", biggest players I've seen since Pat Jennings. But I mean, that's the least of our worries. But one of them's got to go out on loan. Right back, Ed Stevens. That's settled, isn't it? He's coming from Germany. Interesting. Richie said Scott Mitchell recommended him, so sort of he's given that over to Scott. So, but he's starting right back, isn't he?
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah, they obviously made a big hoo-ha about getting him in. He's obviously the right age, and also he's gone up with a championship-winning team, isn't he? Oxford, was it 3 years ago? So I think he's a definite tick.
So who's going to be your backup then, Craig?
I think it'd have to be Craig. I think Craig sort of a bit unsure about Craig last year. I think we've got him as a right back. I think we've probably got him as that Galbraith sort of role. But start him off he could play right back or midfield. because the side was chopping and changing around so much. Like I don't think we really actually probably saw the best of him. So I was a bit unsure. But yeah, back up. Yeah,
Well, you never know. Maybe he's had a good summer. Maybe he's going to push for maybe a midfield spot. You never know. Right, left back. So Morris is going to start, isn't he?
yeah, I was impressed with him when we got him in January. I know the league position wouldn't have told you that. He just gave us a little bit more confidence down that left-hand side and chipped in with a couple of goals as well.
Yeah. So when I've looked at my second 11, I've had to put a big question mark next to left back, so I can't see who covers him.
Yeah, it's true. I imagine that's probably one of the trialists or one of the positions they're looking at. I know they bought a young fella, didn't they, from Enfield this week? I presume that's
He's
for.
got to be under 18s, isn't
Yeah, but unless there's someone in the youth team who can play that side. But yeah, there's no one that springs to mind.
he? Yeah, and I wouldn't want to put Mitchell back there because I think he's going to be more further forward as a reserve backup.
Yeah.
So potentially maybe just look at. And by the way, in this, I'm not going to include the sort of first year professionals. I think majority of those will go out on loan, not unless they have a really good pre-season. But I can't imagine they're going to be near the squad. So potentially just get a left back in on loan, do a cheap one.
So, yeah, I would have thought so. Yes, and that could get a chance to look at them, and if they're impressed with them, then yeah, a similar thing. What we're probably doing with Chroma, we'll get someone in on loan. If we like them, we can go in from.
Okay, first team. So right side is centre back. Forrester is going to be your captain, isn't he? And if he stays fit, he'll be in the team all the time.
Yeah, he's just keeping him fit, isn't it? If you look over his last couple of years, he has been quite injury prone, and even when he joined in January, there's a couple of niggly injuries. But yeah, if we can keep him fit, then I think he'll grow into that role next season.
Right. So first team. So left side is centre back. This is where I put a question mark for the first time in the first team. So I don't think he'll play Big Phil because at the moment he probably wouldn't trust to put him in straight away. So if I was Richie, I'd be looking at if they can an experienced left-sided centre back who's probably played Championship. That's what they'll be looking at, I think.
Yeah, wasn't there was a link with a big old unit from Ipswich, I think, on loan. He's like 6'5".
Is that what he's got across his shoulders? Big old unit.
It might be Albanian or something like that. I can't. But again, the Ipswich connection from Scott Mitchell. Obviously, he worked there a little while, and with Dobby and Elmiz as well. So that I've just saw it float around on social media. So that may be. Because I'm again experienced centre backs who are going to drop down a level are not cheap, are they?
Yeah, well,
you're probably looking at.
Thinking of today, Ed, was when we got Beckles. So he was like a 30, I think, when we got him, a League One defender who dropped down in League Two, but helped us get us up, didn't he? Then stayed around just to settle the ship while we was in League One. So I wonder if they'll look for something similar, a similar profile, a 30-year-old Championship left-sided defender, if they could get one who's willing to drop down and then helps push us up into the playoff picture, hopefully to get us up.
I told you, Rob, just look at the Swindon team from 6 years ago. See who was the centre back.
They must all be about 40 by now. Anyway, that's what we need. Definitely, and I wouldn't even look at. I don't want a lone youngster. They're going to have to get an experienced centre back, aren't they?
It's not a role to take any chances because it's physical as well. So you need some sort of presence, a big old lump. That's what we used to call them in the old days.
So your backup centre back, I don't think initially they'll send him out on loan. I think Big Phil will be your backup.
Yeah, makes it. Yeah, just to get the minutes behind him. I think then he can work his way into the team.
Right, and then I've put down possibly then they look for a lone centre back. So a bit like when we got Casey in last year from West Ham, whether they'll look for a 20-something youngster just to fill that role for a while until. Fingers crossed, Reg comes back near Christmas time.
Yeah, I think you probably you're correct there. They'll probably be looking at the Brighton, Brentford, West Ham to see if there's any youngsters that they can get on loan from them for a season.
Right. So let's look at the. By the way, we're playing Richie's preferred formation of 4-2-3-1. So let's look at the two central midfielders in front of the defence. So Elmiz is your. Always penciled in. He will always play, wouldn't he, if he's fit? Elmiz is always.
Yeah, exactly. Big tick.
So, what would your thought be? I've got a question mark, Ed, against who plays with him. Who would your choice be for, like, if you're looking at the Sheffield Wednesday game?
You're looking for that ball winner, aren't you? That guy is going to go in for the crunching tackles.
I don't think Livet fills that role, does he?
No, I think he's more the player who picks up the scraps. This is where I imagine these are the types of players they're looking for, Rob. This is where you may need to have a look in the Championship to see if anyone's contracts is up and drag them down.
So
I'm
maybe like
sure we're probably
a late 20s central midfielder, powerful, experience.
Yeah, I imagine they'll probably come with a couple of injuries as well. That tends to be but in some ways that's the only way you get them. They've had a couple of injuries. They may just be looking for a bit of security for the next couple of years. Charlton, Rob, I imagine they've probably got players they're going to offload again this year. Again, they would have played up at another level above last year's. I imagine they're looking around that sort of those types of teams.
You know what? When I was looking at it, I almost penciled in Sean Clare if he's still around. If they haven't got anyone, but
I mean, it should be. I think there's a good player there, but I think there's better players out there than him.
Okay, for my backup, so I've done Livet and Oberio. So I think Zek will get games this year because they can't keep loaning him out. He's just signed a 3-year contract, isn't he? Or 2 or 3. So they've got to give him a chance at some point. And in the training videos, all of a sudden he looks like a man. He's not a boy anymore. He's grown up a bit, I think.
Exactly. So he had that experience last year, didn't he? Towards the back end of last season at Tranmere. He's got a few international caps as well now, isn't he? So is it Kenya?
Yeah.
He probably has grown up over the last 6 months. It's for him now to. I mean, yeah, you're right. Perhaps he's that little pocket rocket in the middle, is winning the ball back, picking up the little scraps and laying it off. This is his chance to shine now. He's had a couple of chances for whatever reason, it hasn't worked out. If we'd gone back, say, 2 or 3 years ago, you would have probably penciled him being a first teamer by now, wouldn't you? With like 100 appearances under his name. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he started, Rob.
Yeah. Okay. With Livet, I think we just need to see a bit more of him, didn't we? If he's fully fit. See, I don't think he was fit when he joined us.
Yeah, exactly. He looks like he's got a decent pass in him. I don't think he's going to be the one. He's going to be the one picking the balls up and spraying it around and having a pot shot. When we signed him, those are the types of clips we were seeing, but we never saw that when we got him in January.
Yeah. I mean, some of these players we're talking about, they might be part of your bomb squad that comes off the bench in terms of your finishers. So, that's an important role as well, isn't it? Just because we're saying you're not in potentially our first 11 doesn't mean you've got an important role to play. When the games are coming near to an end, we're going to need good players on the bench as well.
Yeah, I'm all over that. I think people's attitudes are slightly different, but I'm all over that. If you've got players, but their role is the last half an hour, either to win a game or close a game down. You need those types of players.
Okay, so if I'm looking at that Sheffield Wednesday game at the moment, then on the wings, I've got Archibald and Springer.
Looks like those two, Rob. I think Springer's going to start. Obviously, he finished the season, didn't he, with Norwich? He's looking to resurrect his career, isn't he?
Yeah.
And everyone keeps on saying he's as a character, he's got the right attitude. So you would expect those two to be vying for those two positions.
I think, again, we've been linked to a geezer from Oxford as well, haven't we, on the wing this week?
Oh, was it Owen Dow? I think he's been around. Didn't he? He was at Plymouth at the back end of last year, but obviously, again, why do you want to go Plymouth? Every game's an away game, isn't it? So
you imagine the journey home, like, I couldn't do that. Archibald and Springer makes sense at the moment. The only other backup one there that I can realistically see is Mitchell. He can play left or right, but I can, now that Chroma's gone, then it is the only option you've got. So you have to get Owen Dow's one. You might need 2 wingers, mightn't you? Really?
Yeah, I don't think we saw the best of him last year. Again, injuries probably hampered a lot of his season. Was a bit unsure whether we bought him as a fullback, a midfield player, or a winger. I think he was just getting shifted around the team last year just because needs must.
Right. Okay. So your number 10 is probably going to be Dobbs, isn't it? Or Dobby. I think well into certainly that he's already doing well in training with Connolly out up until Christmas. So Dobbs is a definite starter. When I've looked at the backup, or the other one I could really pencil in was Charlie Wellens.
At the moment, you're probably right, Rob. I don't think there's anyone else there. I think, again, that's obviously a big area that they must be looking at over the next few weeks. Obviously, they did well to get Dobby from Chesterfield. And whether you get someone to play alongside him, or you're right, perhaps a younger version of him that we can bring through. But for me, at the moment, Wellens, it's not Wellens. I think perhaps he needs a season out on loan somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a pre-season. I suppose there'll be cup games galore as well during that August, because I see they've the virtual trophy, is that what it's called now? We've got one of those games in August as well. So Wellens and the like will get their opportunity, wouldn't they, to get minutes on the pitch, impress if they can. One player I did see mentioned, and people say, oh, he's never going to come. Donnelly, I saw that he was linked with us.
Okay, that's interesting, because his career must be at a crossroads at the moment. What do I do? Do I stick at Spurs when I'd be lucky to even get in the reserve team? When he went on loan last year, I don't think it quite worked. Obviously, he's got experience in League One. I mean, if we had to pay a little bit of money for him, the fans would love it, wouldn't they? And he's a bit more physical as well. He's taller, a little bit more. He knows what this league's all about. I mean, if we could get him as a permanent player, it'd be cracking. He's still young, Rob, isn't he? He's probably still like 23, 24.
Yeah, he's still, comparatively young.
But it's interesting. If you compare him to another Spurs player, Alfie Devine, I think his name is, who went on loan to Preston last year. I think Preston are going to buy him for £6 million. So he obviously impressed last year in the Championship, where Donnelly didn't. So they've obviously come through the same, the Spurs, the Spurs way. So I think if he's available, it's not too much of a gamble, because he knows the club, he knows Richie. Richie doesn't forget players, does he? I mean, like Kelman didn't come that season, but he came the following season. So there may be something in that.
Yeah, it's also as well, if Connolly is out until Christmas, we might need that comparatively big name signing or loan, if you know what I mean, in terms of one, it will get the crowd will be enthusiastic about it, because we've seen what he can do, haven't we? He had a great season for us once he got up and running, and we might just need that player, which I think we lacked last year, who can find a pass and sort of pick someone out from 30, 40 yards sometimes.
It ended up being reliant on the centre-backs pumping the ball up, didn't it, half the time, to a 5'8" striker.
I'm going to say this. People keep saying, Happy was great at doing that. No, he wasn't. That come off, 1 in 10?
Yeah, but they always show the 1 in 10, don't they? I mean, when you look at the video clips, they'll always show that one. I think it was Kelman scored first goal of the season against Bolton.
It frustrates me when I see that. He tried it maybe 10 times a game, but as you said, it wasn't coming off that often. So striker Ed Ballard, I think now Connolly's out. They're going to have to keep hold of him until Christmas.
Do you know what? I've got a feeling they may keep Ballard. He's still got another 2 years in his contract left. Yeah. I mean, unless he hands in the transfer request, when then it's a free for all, isn't it? And we probably make a little bit more money because we're not. I don't know, but you've heard nothing from him.
No.
So and with Connolly being out, we were sort of saying getting these loan players out. Apparently, there's a little bit more money in the budget. If he's on, again, it's all hypothetical. If he's on $5,000 a week, perhaps we say to him, "Look, can you re-sign your contract and we'll give you $7,500?" Yeah, perhaps there's some incentives there to keep him.
I wonder if, because you hear this sometimes, I wonder, like, when you hear old managers talk about relationships with their players in the past and deals they've done, I wonder if it's one of the, give me everything you've got until Christmas. If we're not in the playoff scene, then potentially then we could look to see where you could go.
Well, the other thing is the transfer deadline doesn't stop, does it, till like the end of August? By that time, we would have already had about 2 or 3 league games. Imagine if he pops in 4 goals in those games. His value is going to go up even more, and you might come in someone like Desperado, who started off badly, perhaps in the Championship, and then pay up for it.
Yeah, like a West Ham starting badly.
We can only pray, Rob. We can only pray.
I don't even have to pray about it. They're terrible. But when you look at it, the only other striker we've got now, and you can't include him, even though I'd love to see this kid do well, is Hanbury. So they're going to have to get 2 in, probably 1 on permanent.
I wouldn't be surprised if, you're right, if they get 2 and you're thinking, why are we buying 2 or 3 strikers? Because in case Ballard does go, let's say he went like on the last day of the transfer, just say he went on the last day of the transfer, you don't want to be like, oh, hang on a minute, we've got all this money and everyone knows you've got all that money and they're going to put the price of their strikers up as well, aren't they? So perhaps you need to get a striker in now before all the other clubs start sniffing around and thinking, why have we bought him? But they may have bought him as a just in case Ballard does go.
Yeah, if you remember last year, they when they got to Spain, they done the big reveal, didn't they, of Aaron Connolly at the time? I think, like you alluded to earlier, I think it was meant to be Longstaff, wasn't it? Was coming in from Millwall, but then they revealed it, and it was Connolly there in the third kit in Spain. So you never know. Once they get to Spain, maybe on Monday they'll be revealing. Might be the third kit reveal, mightn't it, with a new player in it, a new striker.
Yeah, for all we know, there could be a couple of new signings sit around by the pool, topping up their tans and just turn up like, rubbing lotion in and just turn up. They're already signed, all delivered, but it might be a good media ploy if they did it in Spain opposed to last year. But I'm sure, like when they was out in Spain, there was a couple of like Backinson, we don't want to talk about him, but he turned up in Spain. So perhaps there are a couple of players out there already. Just like no one can know, so they've had to fly out a day before.
I've already worked it out. Media team, get on this. Richie and PT, they love to play paddle, didn't they, when they're out there on the court, didn't they? And it's always like winner stays on or something. All of a sudden they get beat. You pan round, it's your two new signings, two strikers.
Oh, brilliant!
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
No, I don't know.
Get on it, Jules. Media team, get on that. That's a freebie from the view from the East. Yeah, so Ed, Richie said 7 or 8 players. I've just worked that out. That's 7 or 8 players.
I think we're thinking along the same sort of lines. I think there's two things here. One, we don't want a season like we had last year. So they've realised probably the issues last year, and there's 3 or 4 players they've thought are not good enough for the team, and they've managed to get rid of them. I think there's probably still a couple more that probably will leave. That obviously frees up a little bit of money, whether they've gone out on loan or we've sold them outright. I reckon there's probably 2 or 3. They're probably, as you said, probably agreed, but they're going to announce it in the next week or so. But yeah, it still leaves opportunities for another 4 possibly. So yeah, you could be talking like easily another 6 joining us between now and the beginning of the season.
So you could be possibly looking at, I don't think we're going to do 5 loans. I think they'll look at maybe 3 good loans, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
a bit more pedigree than what we've had last year.
Yeah, I think you've got. Well, look, do you know a name that did spring to mind? I mean, you call me crazy if you want, I don't care. But like that Teddy Lamb, right? Who Man City bought him, was the top goal scorer in the Premiership League 2, wasn't it, or under 23s? He was the top goal scorer, wasn't he? I think they actually might have even won the FA Cup as well. He's a big old unit. So you think to yourself, okay, he's not going to get in the Man City team next year, is he? But could we get him on loan? Just a thought, just to toughen him up a little bit. Obviously, there's a connection there.
It's a really good shout, because remember Richie said he would have loved the chance to have worked with him. But obviously, that deal's done without, because it's like an academy player at the time. He doesn't have a say in it, I guess, because Lingy would have been pulling the strings, and they just want the money, didn't they?
We've never had. When you see some of these Man City players go out on loan, they usually do quite well. I mean, they've got the best of the best, haven't they? I'm surprised that we've never tried to, off the back of when we played them in the Cup and then buying Teddy Lamb, I'm surprised we've never sort of said, like, if you got anyone we can, you want to expose for the next season on loan. You can see our track record, because obviously, Louis Barry, right, Villa. Do you know what he signed for today? Sheffield Wednesday.
Oh, bloody hell. Even Barry Bannon.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying that those players who might not be good enough to get into the Villa team, they've gone out on loan to, say, Stockport. I think he was Stockport, wasn't he, Barry? And now he's, Sheffield Wednesday bought him because they know he's going to bang you 25 goals next year.
Yeah.
So I just a thought. Sometimes we.
No, it's a good thought. I think he'll be off on loan somewhere, won't he, old Lamb? So
I would assume so.
And like you said, he's a unit, so it's whether they think he's the physicality of the Championship and the speed of it, whether that might be too much, or they throw him in at the deep end. What Man City can do, because they've got so much resource, they can afford, can't they? Right, no, he goes straight to Championship, and then they test him there. But if he comes to us, that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Possibly. I just thought, part of the deal, part of the connection, and then if you can build up that connection, say like with someone like Man City, then. And you can improve the player and send them back, and you may always have that constant connection. Yeah. There may be players you can dip into, but yeah, just a thought, because some of the players, it's always West Ham, isn't it, or Spurs, and it's like,
yeah. I tell you, who really impressed me last year. We mentioned him on the podcast. Is it Harry Gray, one of the Gray brothers? He's like 17, 18. He was really good when he played. I think Rotherham he was at.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
He's gone on loan. It might be to, I don't want to say Sheffield Wednesday, but I'm sure it's like Huddersfield or something like that. He's got a good loan again, like maybe a step up from what he had last year. So there are those really good Premiership youngsters, but it's one, I suppose, whether you've got a connection, then you've got to sell the club to them in terms of playing. But yeah, I'd love to
I'm just
see
thinking
two or
like
three good ones.
with that Teddy Lamb. Obviously, I presume he comes from London anyway, so it's not as if like he's never been in London before, is it? I can
No,
understand if you're playing for Newcastle, you don't and you're only 17, 18. You don't want to come down to London because the big lights and it's a whole new world. Someone like that, Teddy Lamb, he's obviously. I'm just chucking out there.
no, it's good for. And I'm sure on Lingy's lists he used to have up on the wall. Lingy probably had him on there somewhere, didn't he? But he probably put him right near the bottom because he thought we haven't got a chance of doing it. But you've got to think big, ain't you? So shoot for the stars, see what you can get.
If you want to get in the Championship, you got to get these bigger type players.
And you know what, Ed? What a good selling point. We've had top two goal scorers for the last 2 seasons, haven't we? Kelman and Ballard. Obviously, although we didn't play well last year, Rich's setup does get goals out of your players. That might be a good selling point. So it's certainly a bit of business. I've just noted down left back, 2 centre backs, central midfield, right winger, an attacking midfield player, and possibly 2 strikers. Someone's going to be busy.
Well, I guess Scott Mitchell won't be in Spain, will he? It'd be like he's be making phone calls left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
See,
I'm just saying that so many teams that train out there. That's old Connolly was out training with Millwall, wasn't he? Just down the road last year, and that's how they done the deal. So.
yeah. Well, you never. They're playing Lincoln, aren't they? Perhaps they've got. They went up last year. You never know. Yeah, I know, but there might be a defender. Let's say, for example, whose contract's up, and like Lincoln have gone out and bought some brand new player for like £1 million, £2 million. I think you don't think you're quite good enough for this. Orient, I've got a space for you if you want to go there.
Yeah.
You go, no, it's all right.
Right, Ed, let's wrap up very briefly on England Watch. So we got a great result, didn't we, earlier in the tournament? Who did we play last time out?
It's El Mexico, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mexico. See, it's so hot. My memory is literally going. Mexico, what a great game. Everything was going to lose that.
No, as I said, I did I went to bed early. I got up about 12. I got up at 12 and I realised the game was delayed until 2, but I stayed up. I did what I said I was going to do. A couple of episodes of Speedy Gonzales, 2 tequilas, and I got a nice bowl of nachos, Rob, some lovely dips.
Nice.
All different colours. Sat down. Fantastic game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Back and forth. Down to 10 men with sort of like literally 40 minutes to go. You think, and it was literally, wasn't it? It was everyone behind the ball, and even when we were clearing it, there's no one up there, was there? Big shout out to that Dan Burn as well. People think he's not a good player, but mate, that bloke stuck his head in where you shouldn't be doing it for like 20 minutes. He did a job, didn't he?
I was so worried because when he come on, I thought, they put him at left back, and he's a terrible left back when he gets put there for Newcastle. But they brought Spence on at the same time, I think, and I thought, thank God for that, because he would have been ripped apart down that side. But he just said, what is he? He's about 6'6", and he's 6'7".
6'6", 6'7", yeah.
So,
well, you imagine how quick he'd be if he had that extra finger as well, because obviously he's only got 3 fingers, hasn't he, on one hand?
What? He's not.
Yeah.
What's that?
He's lost a finger. Have a look at him. Yeah, he's only got 3 fingers.
Okay. Right.
It was an accident when he was young on a rail or something, trying to climb over.
Something else for me to do on my school trips tomorrow. Now I've got to look for how many fingers Burns got. Well, we'll talk about unnecessary injuries, Ed. Jordan Henderson, you see him break his wrist.
What a game he had. Didn't come on the pitch, got booked, didn't he?
Is this right? Someone I work with who is a semi-professional football player, he says he's not played any minutes. He's got booked. And then if we win the World Cup, he still gets a win bonus.
Really? Well, I suppose he's part of the squad, isn't he?
Yeah.
I imagine. But did you see, I don't know if you saw that, I mean, his wrist has been fixed, but he'll still be in the dressing room, I think. He's obviously G's the players up, doesn't he? He's obviously like someone to talk to between him and the manager, I imagine. That's why he's in the school. He never got picked for his, in the starting 11, did he? Yeah. But he's got that winning mentality.
Yeah. I must say, before we move on to the quarterfinal Norway, what cracking atmosphere in that stadium. Fantastic, wasn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant, wasn't it? You just, I saw a few videos of people at the game, like the Mexican fans like slitting their throat to like the England fans and stuff. It must have been so hostile there.
They only done that because they realised it was David Bentley. So,
Oh, good. He's funny, isn't he?
Oh yeah, hilarious. I'd love to be sat next to him for 90 minutes. Ed, let's move on to Norway now. For Mexico, you had everything set up. You had your Speedy Gonzalez, your
Yeah,
nachos, your dips.
correct.
What are you setting up for Saturday night then? What you got planned?
I've been thinking about it, Rob. It's all planned. The game kicks off at 10, doesn't it? So I've actually got a party at the house that day. I've set a little time aside before games. Aha, greatest hits. They're the
Right,
biggest band ever to come out of Norway.
that's
So
two
I'm going to
songs.
listen.
What else?
I'm going to listen to. I may watch a video of the Northern Lights. A lot of people go to Norway, don't they, to watch the Northern Lights. So I'll do that. Aha, and I can't
Now
think of
what?
anything else. Well, there's nothing else.
You can. I like a bit of cinema. You could watch some art house Norwegian film about trees. That might set you up. I don't know. I mean, if it had been anyone else, like Denmark, there's loads to talk about Denmark. Bacon, Schmeichels, Hanger the Horrible, Sweden. There's loads.
Yeah, well, yeah. Norway.
Scabba, that sort of thing. But Norway, you are struggling a bit. You don't really want to talk about their oil reserves and stuff like that. That's not going to get you in the mood for the game. Ed, we're going to thump Norway, aren't we?
I think it's going to be. It's going to be like one of those. You remember when we used to play Ireland, like in the late '80s, early '90s?
Those rough games.
Yeah, it's going to be like one of those Premiership games. I suppose everyone keeps on talking about Haaland. Haaland doesn't need to do anything, does he? I think he probably only touched the ball half a dozen times against Brazil. He scored 2 goals.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, I suppose at least the defenders are, you've got Gahey, haven't you? You've seen him train every day on the pitch as well. Someone did say so. I was listening to Talk Sport, I think, the other day. Apparently, when Haaland plays against Dan Burn, he's only ever scored 1 goal in seven competitive games. So just chucking it out there.
Oh, wow.
Could he be the surprise the package? But again, a bit like the Mexico game, Rob. Player versus player, we should win, shouldn't we? But who could have foreseen the sending off, a couple of dodgy incident, and the hostile crowd at Mexico? Yeah. Again, what we were saying, I imagine because it's in Miami, isn't it? So I imagine 75% of the people in the ground are going to be English. So it gives you a different dynamic, perhaps a bit more pressure.
Yeah, to be fair, condition-wise, this could be our toughest game. So I'm sure it's probably going to be like it is here, very humid, even at that time in Miami. We've been quite fortunate. It was even bloody raining like English weather, wasn't it, against Mexico? So we've been fortunate all the way through. Ed, you called it actually. You said that Norway would beat Brazil, so well done. I said 3-1, so I almost got the result right in terms of the Mexico game. Do you want to give a prediction for Saturday's clash?
I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0, okay.
2-0.
I will go 2-1 extra time.
2-1 extra.
Like I said, I think it's going to be like a tightish Premiership game, like we've seen in the past. Yeah, so I've got a feeling it might be tight. You never know, it might have to come from behind again.
Yes. I'm confident. I think that would have given them a lot of confidence, that game on Sunday. You can see the team are getting a little bit closer together now, aren't they? I think they'll put they played their hearts out on Monday morning, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we've got experience, haven't we? Semi-finals, getting into them. Norway,
well, that's it.
Their first try in about 50 years, isn't it?
Exactly. After the last sort of 3 or 4 tournaments, we've got to the semi-final, quarter-finals last World Cup, but they've got that big game experience, haven't they? Like, I mean, throughout the whole team, it's not just Kane and Bellingham. They've all won trophies in their domestic countries, etc., and playing in big games. And probably that experience from Monday, is probably just given that extra. We might be able to do this,
Yeah. And Tuchel's a winner, isn't he? So he's. I think he's very keen, isn't he, to at least get to the final? I think this year. So
I wonder if they did win, he'd have his ears pinned back. It just annoys me sometimes when I see him interviewed. I don't know if you've ever noticed his ears poke out.
If we won, ears pinned back and potentially a full head of hair within 12 months.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I think
I do the same.
There's a good-looking man underneath all that.
Well, underneath that baseball cap, yeah. There's a blinding face. Right, that's it for this week. Good luck, England. We'll probably recorded Saturday of next week, hopefully in preparation for the World Cup final with England playing.
Oh, well, we can only dream, Rob, can't we? Yeah, because I think the semi-final would be Wednesday, Thursday.
Wednesday we play, and
Tuesday.
then it said Sunday, and potentially bank holiday on the Monday if we win.
Oh no, he said we get the bank holiday on the Friday, the following Friday. Yeah, I know.
Is that his last wish as Prime Minister?
Funny thing, I stayed up and watched the football on Monday morning, and then went straight to work. So I was at my desk by 6:30 or whatever. Got on the central line. There was a man in an England kit with a can of beer, drunk, could hardly walk. And he didn't even know what line he was on. I just thought, imagine if we did win the World Cup, there'd be like thousands of people doing that, wouldn't there?
Wasn't Andy Burnham, was it?
He did look a little bit like him, yeah. Where's Westminster?
Right, listeners, that's it for this week. As again, we'll record on Saturday of next week, all being well. But until then, up the O's.
Come on, you O's.